Okay, I guess we're 8 minutes, we can start now. So welcome everybody. We're starting now. We are being videotaped and it is available on the town website. Also, you can view it on channel 79, is it, afterwards? So it's safe for posterity. And just for the record, everything discussed here, unless we actually vote on it, will be preliminary. So any dates we discuss are preliminary. We have to go through M&C, and the town to get the dates finalized. Also, any projects and stuff, those are preliminary too until they're financed and approved. I just want everybody to, that's for the record. Per the regulations, if we do have a vote, and I don't think we're voting on anything today, but if we do have a vote, the no votes are recorded. I don't know why, but that's how it is. The yes votes are not recorded. The results are recorded, but just the no votes will be recorded. And Jamie's there, thank you very much, so she'll be taking the minutes. So that's good. We do have a quorum, we need 7 people, and we do have a quorum today. And I think some people will be coming in a little bit later.
If we're pushed by press, no comment, and push to you.
Yeah, again, Maggie, I sent out an email. Maggie's is in charge of our communications. So if the press contacts anybody, please let Maggie know about it. We want one voice, we want messaging. We've had a couple articles already that I'm really, really pleased with. We want to get our message out there. It was on the front page of the Darien Times. But we want to speak for one voice. Any organization wants to speak with one voice. So let Maggie know if anybody tries to contact you. But that shouldn't, like I said in my email, that shouldn't hinder the conversation. I view these as working meetings, as well as official meetings. So any ideas, feel free to throw them out there. Anyway, we have a new volunteer, Lori Oram is here, and we welcome her. She's got some fantastic experience. She worked in the Darien Community Fund. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi.
Sorry to put you on the spot there.
That's okay. My name is Laurie Oram, and I've lived in town for 26, almost maybe 27 years now. Raised our 3 children here, went through public schools. I embarked on a second career, if you will, or a second act, and I am the development director at the Community Fund presently. So that's it.
Great.
Welcome.
So she'll be helping out in whatever she wants to do, but also hopefully maybe some of the business with the business community, event sponsorship and foundation work and stuff like that, which we could really, really use. So welcome. We're really happy. Yeah. When Sarah told me about you, I was so happy.
Good. Yeah. I've been in charge of the Darien Road Race for the last couple of years. So
oh, great. Oh, fantastic.
Any of you
That's a wonderful event.
It's our 40th annual this year, so.
Wow. 40 years.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. And Cheryl Williams, who's a member of the Chamber of Commerce, she was sorry she couldn't make it today. It was kind of short notice. Susan put me in contact with her. She's going to be a fantastic resource, and she's going to be reaching out to the business community. So she volunteered as well, but she couldn't make it today. Also, just before we start, Tracy from Mather House, she had some good suggestions in an email. She couldn't make it today, but me as representing Mather House. She wanted us to keep in mind that we should, when we're doing all these projects and everything, let's get all the age groups involved, young and old and in between, toddlers, dress-up tea parties, play dates with historic games and snacks, and teens, all age groups, the sky's the limit, teen movie night or something. Anyway, she had a lot of good suggestions, but she really wanted to emphasize that it's not just for adults, it's for everybody, not just for kids, it's for everybody, all age groups. So I thought that was a really good point. I said I'd bring it up. So we can start. Let me pass out the agenda and the minutes. And I hope everybody read the minutes. If not, they're here. Can you give me a copy of the agenda? Sorry.
Sure.
Second minute. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They're going around this way. I don't know if I got it. Hopefully I made enough copies.
I have extra.
Here, I have one too.
I got it.
So I'm sorry, for Lori, can we just go around the room and everybody introduce ourselves?
Excuse me, I'm Maggie McIntyre, I'm the director of the Darien Historical Society.
I'm Tracy Goodnow. I am a volunteer at the Darien Historical Society.
Hi, I'm Sarah Woodbury at the Darien Foundation.
Laurie Moran.
Susan Cater, Darien Chamber of Commerce.
Mia Cordalesi, another foundation.
David Zekin, President of the Masonic Code of Darien.
Jim Long, M&C Commission.
Jamie Gore, Parks and Recreation.
Kate Larson, I'm with the Historical Society.
And I'm Al Miller, the chairman, and I'm with the Historical Society as well. Is there any questions about the minutes?
I had a clarification that it could transpose over to number 5 when we do talk about the postcard. I thought we were going to do, it talks about the mailing in the body of the postcard discussion. And I thought we were going to do the save the date card in September and the trifold in January. And I got the impression from the minutes that maybe the minutes reported that the trifold would go first. And maybe we can just clarify that when we talk about the postcard. I didn't know if we needed to talk about that in the minutes.
I can
That's how I
reword it.
recall it too, actually.
I think I
It
can
was save
recall.
the date in September,
Yeah,
trifold in January, and then another mailing in the spring.
I can't recall either way, but I like having a save the date in September, even maybe a little later. And then the trifold, because the trifold really will give more organizations and more events, and we may not have all the events by the end of the year. And then another postcard.
Well, logically, the save the date should come in advance of the information.
Yeah, so that should be the first. Exactly, so that should be the first. But it's a
just
question
the
Notes I
about.
made to
format.
It's a
myself
question really
talked
about
about
the
the trifold in January, so I don't know, maybe I can just reword it.
Yeah.
So I
I
think
think
that was
just
the
reword it.
impression I had too, so maybe I just didn't get that
Yeah,
point
that's
across.
good.
And I'll reword it.
I had one small point that I think I emailed and I since
The
talked to
volunteer.
Jamie about was, we had talked about doing a sort of volunteer outreach.
Right.
Again, this is tentative for people who might be watching the television. This is not a news announcement, but
Right.
that we could discuss maybe offline how
Absolutely.
to reach out via social media or whatever. And if we get past June 2nd, I'd be happy to help with that. I just have 2 events between
No
now
problem.
and then. That's just Jamie. But I think if we could get the word out, maybe reaching out to other organizations. And I know we said that anniversary day or closing ceremony or whatever was in June, but I think there may be organizations that don't get their act together. That's all, it's out of our purview, but they want to keep the ball rolling.
After June.
That's good too. But I think that several of the initiatives we have going on the Radio Express would be great. We could pull in people who'd be excited to help, so.
Okay. Yeah, we definitely will have smaller kind of informal meetings, right,
Yes.
with groups of outreach, and there's actually 5 groups that we're thinking about.
Boots on the ground. So, yeah.
Boots on the ground, right. So for Susan's comments, I think we'll have one of the postcards go out by the, let's say by the end of the year. Is that good? I don't want to really set a date as September. Let's just say by the end of the year.
September, October, I
Okay,
think, you know.
September,
I think
October.
it
Going
needs
into
really
November,
fall
it'll
for
get
the
lost, we all
holiday. If you
talked
send
about
it
it,
in
get
November,
lost in
it's-
the holiday
yeah.
mail.
Okay.
And the annual appeal mail, November is like
Okay.
So early fall.
vacuum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. Early fall, and then the
Back to
trifold
school,
will go
people
out.
care about it.
January, I think, you
Beginning of the year.
know, right out of the box,
Okay.
like, you know, the first week in January, because people are back, they're thinking, they're going through their mail,
Right.
and catching
Good
up.
time.
And then the last postcard.
We'll decide.
Yeah, absolutely. And if, like you say, there will be a lot of organizations who have a lot of events after June, we could do another postcard if we have funding and everything.
Or it can just be linked from the sites or whatever,
Yeah.
you know, because people are gone this summer, whatever we decide,
Okay.
you know.
That sounds good. So the agenda is welcome and introduction, approval of minutes. We'll talk about the logo and the postcard, the birthday bash, opening and anniversary day, the town marker project, sponsorship and town website, and just a general discussion about the 2020 celebrations. So is everybody okay with the minutes? I know we made this
I'll
one
make a
correction, and then it'll be sent out. So should we vote on, with the correction?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a motion to vote on this?
Yes.
Second the
Second.
motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say no. Okay, great. That's nice. Okay, so the logo and education. Sarah couldn't be here today. She had a family matter to attend to. But I had a preview of it. She is like 99% there. I would say she's 110% there, but her and the kids, they want to do a little more tinting to one of the colors, so she's almost there. I had a chance to view it, and like I said, to me it's almost done. Maggie saw it also as well. I think it's really awesome. I was like very impressed with it. I'm all in with this design. Maggie's all in.
Yeah, it looks great.
When she does finish it, we'll let everybody know. I'll contact everybody when she finishes it and you'll get a chance to see it. I'm really excited. They worked very, very hard on it. And she's, kudos to her.
So it became a mix of the ideas ultimately?
Yeah, so what she did was she had three kids really involved in it. It turned out to be a mix of ideas. I don't want to steal her thunder. She also worked with a graphics designer. So the kids really did the brunt of it, and then the graphic designer gave like more professional, just really hints here and there. But really, the crux of it all is what the kids did. Really, they met many, many times. Tweaked it over. They got real ownership of this. They learned a hell of a lot. Not about so much about art, but just the business and branding things, how to make things pop and really, be visually stunning. So it's going to be great. I think it's going to be great.
Yes.
And Maggie, would you agree?
I definitely.
Yeah, we're all in for
So
this.
stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. So the postcard, Susan, do you want
You
to
ready to
pass
move
out?
on?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. She's got some stuff to pass out for us
There's
to look
two
at.
for you all. There you go. You can pass those around. I think I made enough copies. So, after our discussion last time, we had narrowed it down to two formats, and we requested a quote from Total Printing, which has done a lot of work with the Darien Historical Society already. So what I did was I deleted the one size that we chose not to go with. So we have the trifold, and we have the single card at 6.5 by 9 as our units of size that we want to work with. And then I added in a pricing option, as you can see, is D under Total Printing. And this pricing is good until June 30th. I don't expect that the pricing would go up dramatically or drop dramatically, but, they can't promise the pricing from their viewpoint, the way they price it for a longer period of time than that. So, the pricing, as you can see, for the trifold is $15.95 for coated 100-pound stock, and for $14.95 for the 80-pound stock. He recommended the 80-pound stock because of the crease. It's a larger piece, and you're folding it, and so it will crease nicely. It doesn't have to be so heavy. And of course you save some money there because you're going with a little bit lighter weight stock. And then he recommended that for the card, we go with a 14-point card, which is a bit heavier than 100-pound stock. So I asked him to give me some samples, and he did. So this is, and these are coated. He recommends coated because it pops, the color is nicer. So if you want to just, it's good to feel and touch, and you can see he didn't give me an 80-pound stock, but it would be somewhat lighter than that. £100 for the trifold. And of course, with the pricing, it doesn't include your creative, and it doesn't include the price for the everyday delivery program with the post office. So we could take advantage of the Darien Historical Society's stamp, and that would save us some money. I think in my notes it's about 6 cents a piece, and I think we're narrowing it down. So what we would need to do is find a graphic, we'll approve how we want to proceed. We need to find a graphic designer. I think whoever we go with, I think the pricing will be somewhat the same in terms of, $400, $500, $300. I think we can find somebody who will do the work. Of course, I assume that we'll pay. Of course, it's even better to get it gratis, but you might not. So I think we're better off to err on the side of paid, and then it can come in under budget.
Right. So there's a big price differential between, right?
Yeah,
Isn't
there
amazing,
is.
Between
There is.
total
Well,
printing and the other three.
I think, I didn't go into it why his pricing was so much lower. Total does a lot of work for the town of Darien, for different organizations in town. They're well known. They are a smaller operation. They're a well-run operation. I mean, the Darien Historical Society has the most experience of the group that I know of here today, has the most experience with Total.
This is who the community fund uses too.
That's who the
Yeah.
DCA uses too. And
Oh, really?
DAG uses them
And you've
too.
had good experience.
So, well, there you go.
Yeah, I
You know.
couldn't recommend.
There's a reason.
No, it's
Yeah.
really great.
And they have experience with bundling. You use the EDDM program for the Historical Society?
We have in the past.
Yeah, so they have the experience of bundling and delivering it, which is critical. I think in this case, my recommendation would be that we go with a known entity that has a relationship with Darien businesses, and we have the confidence that it's going to be done correctly and on time. Have you, any of you had any problems with on-time delivery? So,
So we don't have funding for everything yet, right? So this would be preliminary. But I think I'd like to have a vote that let's kind of move forward with total printing. Okay? Anybody want to propose a vote for this?
I don't know if I can propose
Move
it.
it. You want a
I'll
motion?
move. I'll
Right, second the motion? All those in favor of, for now at least, going with total printing, say aye. All those opposed, say no. Okay, the motion is carried. Jamie, great, fantastic. Excellent
Good.
work, Susan.
We're moving along.
Really impressed,
So
yeah.
Susan, do they need, the idea that the pricing is good till June 30th, they don't need the content prior to June 30th, they just need the commitment?
No, neither. The quote, it's a quote. So if I go to them on July 2nd, they'll have to go out and re-quote it.
Got it.
So we'll just be re-quoting, a certain number of this size card, this size stock, 4-color both sides, and the other. And then you get another quote that's good for 3 months. So remember, unless you print it and you pay for it, I'd have to double check that. We might have to get an updated quote for January.
Yep.
And then for April because,
Yeah, the paper cost change.
Right.
Right. Thanks.
So, just for the record, we don't have funding for this yet. Right, but it looks like based on the research that Susan did, the consensus of the group is that we'll be exploring more to go with total printing.
Can
Right.
I ask a quick question? This might be premature, but for the save, if we had discussed like save the year for the first postcard, which I love that idea, and with the logo and talking about the bicentennial. But part of the challenge, I think that we've been discussing is how to reach out to all these different community groups, and we could do it through a press release and social media. But I wonder, will this card also serve that purpose? So in other words, if we could say, are you a nonprofit with a that is planning a bicentennial event, visit this site for more information, or if you'd like to donate, visit this site for information, that kind of thing? Would that be?
I think you could. I think you could reach out to every single nonprofit and let them know.
Right.
What I find with the chamber is I'll take this creative, and I will use that on my social media. And I'll use the image, so it would of course have the logo on it and like save the year or
Right.
whatever we do. And then you can use that in your constant contact announcements. You can use that, and every organization that is participating might say with our Save the Year card, they might say save the date for the community funds anniversary party. And
Right.
as
Would
part
that be
of 2020.
That would be the trifold, right? So it would be, would this be our dates, the committee's dates, and then also a way to reach out to all these other nonprofits to be able to start thinking about the Bicentennial and what they might be doing, and then also having a place to go to for more information about the
sure.
online
Absolutely.
calendar and stuff like that.
I mean, in terms of communications, I think we should be telling all the nonprofits now before June.
agree.
If anybody goes on quiet during the summer and they don't have board meetings during the
Right.
summertime, you got to plan advance, and a lot of them already have events that they do traditionally. And if they want to do something to tie into 2020, they've got to plan a little bit farther in advance. I don't see why we can't be doing that right now.
Yeah.
I know Maggie's gonna come out very, very shortly with a press release.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get a, account where everybody can go, businesses, nonprofits, schools and everything can go to this website or whatever, and we'll communicate with them.
More information.
More information, yeah.
Okay.
But with the 2 press releases so far, not press releases, but articles in the Darien Times, people are coming up to me and saying, I didn't know you were on this committee, and I didn't know anything about Bicentennial, so word is getting out there. Good, okay. So the next thing is the birthday bash, Jamie. And I know we discussed what dates. Maggie and I were discussing kind of back and forth. June 12th is the actual anniversary date when the town was incorporated. That's a Friday. We were talking about having the birthday party at Reed Beach a week before, or on well, I think it would be better to have it the week before.
Yes, I thought, kind of based off of how we discussed last meeting,
Right.
that it seems like we're leaning tentatively towards the 6th as the best date,
I think so too.
which would also go consistently with how we've been operating the event. So that would be kind of what people would expect.
Yeah, okay, so tentatively it'll be, you guys, Parks and Recs actually decide when the date is, right? But
I discussed it
recommendations
after the last
are the
meeting with the director,
They're
and
good?
she was comfortable
Oh,
with the
great.
6th.
Okay.
Unless it rains again this year, and then we're kind of.
Do you schedule a rain day?
We usually do the Sunday after, so it'd be the 7th.
Okay. Sunday, yeah.
But we
Okay,
can
good.
discuss that if there's a reason
Yeah.
we wouldn't want it on that Sunday, but generally that's what we do.
So, for the anniversary day, the 12th, we were thinking of actually having it possibly on the Saturday.
Yes.
I know Maggie's gonna reach out to the high school. I think, the library, that auditorium there is not gonna be big enough. There's a lot of people that are getting interested. We're getting a lot of press even already. All the schools and everything with this logo, the schools are gonna be using the logo. They've already contacted me on a lot of their events, so there's gonna be a lot of publicity.
Oh, it's
So I think
exciting.
it's very, very
Very
exciting from the athletic teams and everything for next year with this. It's gonna be very exciting. So, we're gonna try to contact I'm sorry, yeah?
Yeah, can I ask a question? Has anyone talked to Susie De Silva about curriculum planning for next year in terms of the fact that over the summer are the teachers all aware of it?
So Sarah is heading up the educational subcommittee or the subcommittee,
Okay.
so we have to ask her.
That's a really good question.
It is a
Yeah,
very
it
good
just feels
question.
like over the summer is when a
Absolutely.
lot of the teachers are planning the curriculum for the
Yeah.
year, and if they knew, I have a daughter that's a first grade teacher, if she knew the town was like, I'm sure they would weave it into.
Yeah, absolutely, I'm sure we're gonna do all of that.
Okay, good thing to follow up on.
I don't wanna,
I think things are going to start really moving fast once the logo,
And
because Lisa
process.
Shanahan had said built in too. It's like everything started really moving once the logo was in place, because then you could you know, start to build the websites and all these different information.
Well, our next meeting won't be until school is about to adjourn. So would it be possible that we could have an online vote to approve the logo so the logo can go out and we don't have to wait another month?
So I don't think we're gonna wait another month. I'll be contacting you all with an email.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, what we're gonna do,
Not
we
to
actually
be-
cannot have an online vote.
Yeah. We
It's
can't have
it's
it
not
on the-
allowed,
Oh, you're not allowed, okay.
yeah.
It's Connecticut state law.
Oh, I
Right.
see, okay.
So it has to be recorded and everything. So
So,
I'll contact you with the format and everything, how we're gonna do that, but it has to be a vote, it has to be recorded, it has to be official.
Okay.
We'll
It
do
could be
all
by
that.
phone. We could all participate remotely by phone, but it has to be simultaneous participation so that,
I see.
Yeah,
But
Even
I
if
don't
we
think
all
Susan
just
has a
hopped
really
over
good
here
point.
real fast.
yeah,
right?
exactly.
I mean-
Or
Yep.
and people who couldn't pop over could call in. It has to be occur.
Okay, well, that's great
Yeah.
news that we won't have to wait till
No,
the
we
next
are
meeting.
definitely not
That's
waiting.
great.
check your emails this week.
Okay.
Sarah, she couldn't be here, but she's gonna get back to me at the end of the week. Like I said, I think she was 110% done. We are all in, I think you'll be really, really pleased. It's very exciting.
Would that have to be scheduled as a special meeting in a week in advance?
I think special meeting.
24 hours.
24
Oh, yeah,
24 hours.
special wouldn't have to be, yeah.
Absolutely, so special meetings have to be scheduled 24 hours. So if a storm is suddenly coming or a hurricane, they don't wait to have a
Okay.
special meeting. Right.
Perfect, okay.
So I'll be contacting everybody, just make sure check your emails. Okay. We talked about all of this, we're definitely not gonna wait another month for this. Anyway, okay, so we're good then, June 6th, and then the following week, we'll contact the schools, let them all know, see if we can reserve the auditorium on the 13th.
Are we
on that
gonna
Saturday.
officially vote on the date?
Let's,
As soon as I know that the high
let's,
school.
let's make sure
Okay.
the availability of the high school.
Okay.
And then we should officially vote on the date, correct? I think that's really good. I think before having the party on the Friday and then that Saturday, it's like nobody is at the party, it's like, oh, I gotta wake up to go to this event and listen to a lot of politicians and everybody speak about the incorporation of Darien. Anyway, great.
So the June 12th event, that's either at the high school or town hall or whatever auditorium it is,
Yes.
would be what? Like speakers or, because we have the party the week before, and then what would be happening on the 12th? Like,
The 13th.
or the 13th or
The
whatever.
12th or the 13th, right, so the 12th is a school day, I'm not sure if we can have it, if we want to actually do it on a school day, the 13th is a Saturday, so
Right.
probably have it the 13th.
So tentatively, we're planning to have a speaker, maybe a politician. I think at the 150th, the governor came, so as soon as we have the place, we should be reaching out to.
So it would be a speaker program?
Yes,
Absolutely,
right,
yeah.
right.
I just wasn't
More or
sure
less.
what the content.
And it would be
of
great if the Board of Selectmen could actually read do something with the
proclamation.
original charter.
And maybe some entertainment. We're actually reaching out to senators and our representatives to
Great.
see if they can come. And maybe a reading of the proclamation. We'd like to officially recognize and honor the kids who did the logo, and then give them some kind of plaque or something. So a whole bunch of stuff.
Got it.
It's really
And
interesting
then the
process.
following day, except that,
And-
well, the rain day wouldn't matter, but the following day, it's good, we were kind of thinking
Right.
about having a fun kind of history day for families and maybe at the Congregational Church, the Mather House, and the Historical Society. We're just kind of thinking, it's just an
Right.
idea that.
So that's stuff that
tossing
maybe
around,
we're thinking of
kind
the
of
Congregational Church, we haven't gotten in contact
haven't
with
really
them yet.
nailed down.
You mean the 13th, is that?
It would be the following day, maybe on a Sunday,
Right.
so that we could.
But also
just
the
have a-
Historical Society, if Mather House would like to do something as
Yeah.
well, that'd be good.
So, yeah.
Excellent, stuff for the kids. And, yeah. Okay, so the opening, Jim and I are gonna head up the opening. We went to the Thaddeus Belgrave site, that's where it's gonna be. It's gonna be in March. We're thinking about the last week in March, possibly on the 28th. So that'll be at the grave site. We'll unveil the marker that's gonna be there. Also the DAR, I said in a previous meeting, they're refurbishing that grave site, both of Thaddeus Fell and his wife. So the DAR
Where is
will be
that
there.
graveyard?
It's on Hanson, just,
Oh, yeah.
Is that the
East
one
of-
near Weeburn? Like you're driving along, there's like a little grave.
yes,
grave.
correct.
Yeah, okay.
It's upper,
On the north side of the street.
yeah. I'd like to get a videotape of the festivities. We'll have probably a ribbon cutting, possibly a bagpipe or something. So there's all stuff we're trying to put together.
And Monuments and
reading of-
Ceremonies has a cleanup program, because if you ever go there, it's sort of a disaster. But they need to cut down all the trees and clean up all the debris that is sitting around.
Yeah.
My
I know me
concern
and
would be,
Tracy and Mia, you said that you may help out with this, but you've got, all your kids are on vacation, so you may not be able to
Fine.
attend.
Well, no,
but
we'll definitely,
we'll work
we'll
something
figure it
out.
out or get someone else from our
Right, good.
Yeah.
you know, if you do the opening ceremony, how many people are you thinking would attend? There,
That's a good question.
At this graveyard.
I don't know. It's actually a
Because
pretty big graveyard.
It
And they
wouldn't
had
be,
the 150.
it's not gonna be very safe. So we might have to
Well, we
talk
definitely
to
have to have police presence, because I don't know if there's a parking lot there. I drove past it the other day.
No, you're gonna have to park
There's a park
either
on
at
the
the Methodist church or the Catholic church. There is one lot that has been leveled, but I imagine by next year, construction will be underway. And Weeburn, we could approach Weeburn or the two churches, or even the high school.
Would it be so bad to ask the police department if we could close the road
No,
off that day?
definitely. We can definitely ask them that. Absolutely.
I mean,
Because
then,
there's gonna be a lot of
then you
moving
could
all
have
day.
bagpipe, you could have a
Yes.
little parade, you
That's
could
what
have
I was thinking.
bagpipers, you could have,
Yeah, it could be a
yeah,
block
make it a
party.
block party.
Block party.
I think maybe we could videotape it and show it at the closing ceremony for the people who, reading of the proclamation. Maybe Jamie could read the proclamation. Invite the Board of Selectmen. So all sorts of things we're banding around. But definitely something of this size, you're going to have police presence there. And that's a good idea to block off the road. Maybe have some refreshments. stuff
When
like
we
that.
asked to block off, when we asked to block off the road for sidewalk sales, I send that letter in, January, February for July. So about
Okay.
6 months in advance, because
Yeah,
the police department and planning and zoning have to vote on it.
Absolutely. And NMC has to definitely approve it.
Yeah,
Monuments and
so,
ceremonies, because it is a ceremony, so.
We should
Yeah.
definitely
That's
have,
why
since
Jim
it's
is here.
March, we should definitely have a snow date.
Yeah, and either have a snow or a rain day, who knows?
yeah,
what they want.
for March can be
I don't know.
a stormy month.
But the sooner we get that organized, it also could be a field trip, right? For-
Mhm.
Oh, yeah,
It
right,
could be, something put out there for the teachers. that
Oh,
this is-
yeah.
absolutely.
this
I mean,
is-
especially if the street work closed and there was room.
Yeah, if the street was
Mhm.
closed, it became a block
Mhm.
party kind of event.
Is there a house, a Thaddeus Bell house?
I think it was demolished. I wish Ken was here. Do you know,
Don't
Joe?
know.
I'm pretty sure it was demolished. You have to check on that. Anyway, so then we covered anniversary day, so the historical markers. So we've been doing some work. I'll pass out one of the designs we're considering. So Nick, I already introduced you.
Oh, thank you.
Before you came.
I appreciate it.
So Nick's company actually owns the adjoining property and possibly the property as well at the cemetery, right? Not sure if they own the land,
Bates Cemetery.
Bates
Oh,
Cemetery.
yeah, property.
So Nick, you want to introduce yourself? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My name is Nick Fletcher. I'm one of the owners at the former Dairy and Green property over at 320, 330 Boston Post Road. We've just recently changed the name to Dairy and Crossing, so you might see that around. We just recently moved our office, which is Fletcher Development. We're residential custom home builders, so we build a lot of the homes, sort of waterfront properties around here. Sorry. And we just moved our office into the building, and we're we want to be active and involved in the community as much as we can, and interested to help out and lend a hand. And Dave, we've been close with Dave through the year, so it's been good.
So it's adjoining the Masonic Lodge, which is,
Yeah, that's
Dave was representing.
Nick also has a lot of experience with
digitally in.
Oh, that's right, yeah, so my
Could you
background.
tell about your background, because it might be helpful for communications?
Of course, so my background actually personally is I've been in technology for most of my career, and then recently in the last 3 years actually, pivoted more into real estate. But I worked for Datto, which is a tech company here in Norwalk. I was one of the original employees there, helped grow that up, and then connected through some venture capitalists. And then I lived in San Francisco for 3 years and continued my sort of early stage startup activity. And then I pivoted. My brother and I are Fletcher Development, so he spearheads the residential build, and then I'm focused on the commercial. But we're trying to integrate more technology, more progressive thought, more just modern and I think invigorating ideas into what has been a sort of slow moving industry, and I think it just needs a little bit of excitement. And you've seen our building and the transformation that we've done in our property. I think it's in line with what we're about and what our thesis is.
So they're doing a whole bunch of work cleaning up that whole area.
That's
and I drove past there. It's all the way Post Road, just about right until you get to Norwalk.
That's
Sure.
correct. Yep,
What is
just
it,
right
Chris?
across from Darien Diner.
Oh, right across from Darien Diner.
Yeah.
I went
And
there.
New Break I Fix, so it kind of goes.
That's exactly right.
It kind of goes like that.
Yeah, Trader
Fort
Joe's.
Dutchess, are we want to get it?
Yeah, Trader Joe's.
I went there to see the work that actually to see the cemetery, and I drove in the parking lot. There were so many guys working and trucks and stuff that I never got to see the cemetery. But I didn't want to go out. And, no, that's okay. I didn't want to go out and say, "Who are you?" or "You're a supervisor."
It's a crazy place for some.
Anyway, wow, the cemetery was there first.
It's different.
That's true. That's very true.
It is sort of just random.
But I think
but
that whole area that they're cleaning up, and I think
It used to be
your
residential.
email is something about the entrance or something they're
Yeah,
doing. So it's so cool that he's on board with it.
Yeah, so we just redid the stone wall around the cemetery. That was one of the first tasks at hand because it was unkept. It was really unkept. So we rebuilt the cemetery wall. We've added actually some low sort of privet or hedge to sort of give what I would call privacy to the cemetery. And we just finished up with a pronounced entrance to the cemetery. And what we thought was we'd like to kind of establish or some sort of monument. We've been talking with Dave and his group of guys about sort of having this be a historical mark and what something
Absolutely, yeah.
pronounced and a sort of memorabilia to what is the Bates Cemetery. And so we were thinking about doing some sort of plaque in honor of the cemetery, and if we can tie it in and weave it into the bicentennial, all the better.
Absolutely.
But we've sort of, the way we're looking at it is we'd like to embrace the cemetery because it really is it's historical. It's a part of the town, and it deserves that sort of treatment.
Right. Great, thanks.
And what's your timing on completion of the project?
We're sort of at the home stretch right now, so
Oh,
we're
great.
almost done with most of the land. Like for instance, we're going to be paving the property probably at some point next week.
Oh.
That kind of.
So you're at the end.
We're at the end. In terms of the exterior landscape, we're almost done there. The cemetery, the steps up to the cemetery,
Right.
we just finished that last week. Like last week.
Yeah, I
So
was
that-
there about 3 weeks ago and it wasn't great.
It was a very different situation. So we just finished those, and we're doing, as we get tenants, we'll continue with the interior, but for the most part, the exterior of it is about 97% complete.
So we've got about 10 or 12 historic sites that we're thinking about putting markers. I looked at a couple of designs. This one is on Sherwood Island, the beach there. You can go there. This picture really doesn't do it justice. It's maybe 3 feet by 2 feet. They probably come in different sizes. It's Connecticut Art Walk, and they have these all over Connecticut. There was another design, I didn't like it that much, and I contacted the company, and they said it's a minimum of 15, and then they want to have 2 other, minimum of really 17 plaques. So that's more than we were thinking of. And this design we kind of like better. We're working on funding, getting close to funding some of these things.
How high are
So
they?
that's all good. They can be as high or as low as you want.
And how
No.
high is this example, do you know?
It's about a little
It
lower
plays
than this.
standing,
a
yeah.
little- Yeah, it's a little,
Okay,
about this height.
nice.
Yeah,
It-
it's
It's
great.
very, very nice.
There's one at, what is that falls? Kent
Kent
Falls
Falls.
too. There's
Yeah,
another
they're all
one.
over the place.
I love the simplicity,
Yeah,
especially because, you know, if you think about graveyards back then, the gravestones are very simple.
Mhm.
You know, they didn't transpire into the Victorian age where they were a little bit more ornate. They're very simple, and this is in keeping kind of with that, you
So
know,
I-
historical
right.
look.
Yeah, you don't want onions on it.
Question. I have a recollection of taking my kids over Goodwise River Road and there being a sign there that talks about the Indians and the silver or whatever. And then it came, I was looking for it recently when I was giving somebody else a tour of town, and then it came down. So was that a historical
I can
society?
tell you about
Oh,
that.
good, thank you.
Because that was really cool.
That was made up
Okay.
by the owner of the house.
Oh my God.
So, and we only know because she actually donated her house to the Historical Society, and it's in, and so, we later learned that there was a plaque that said something about it
It's
was
about
the
also
good wives who
so-
were washing their clothing, but there's no historical,
So, but
Okay,
that-
that's what it came
it's
down
like
to.
an urban
I was
legend.
thinking that would be a perfect place for
It
me
is,
to
that
be
is
if that was
very
true.
close to there, right at the bridge, that is one of the sites, right at the Wings End Bridge.
but
But
that
those kind of
itself
things
was
would be
an urban
interesting.
legend.
Like I, you know, it's just
So
interesting.
that's what,
These
we have a
monuments
town
would be like.
historian, and he'll be writing the text. We'll also have pictures, historical pictures and everything that we'll put on here.
Is there text on this one, or we just can't
There
see
is,
it?
yeah, everything in white, there's text. That's why I say this picture doesn't, I took it with
There's
my
like two
phone.
columns to the left.
Well, the markers being numbered, so that if
So
you
we-
just came across one marker, then and it was number 8, you'd be like, oh, there
So
must
what-
be 7 more.
Right, so what we'd like to do is, and thank you for doing this is something that Katie did, we would probably put out a thing like this, give it to the real estate people, give it to the town, and it would be a little tour you could take of all the markers. And Sarah was talking about maybe having a bus tour for the kids, once a year or so, taking the 8th grade or the 5th grade on a tour of all the different markers. There's a lot of, now that I'm getting into it more, a lot of incredible history here.
Well, I remember one of the other meetings we were discussing having some sort of that part of the event where that's one of the, I think the
Right.
anniversary day that you
Yes.
had
Yeah,
Yes.
that activity happening.
absolutely.
Right, so
Yeah.
yeah, the opening ceremony, we're hoping that we could, just for planning at this stage, like a ribbon cutting to reveal the first marker, and then to have other ribbon cuttings at different places around town.
Right, so in theory, the whole launch, the reveal of the whole sort of concept, right?
Would
Yeah.
be the opening.
Would be the opening, and then since it's, the festivities are from March to June, we may do 3 of these every month, right? 3 unveilings every month, and then at the end, possibly have a
I
bus
see,
tour
so
of
then you do like
kids.
a press release of the next bunch,
Yeah.
and how we keep building
Yeah.
momentum.
Right,
Exactly.
Can I just ask about the marker? Is this something that you're gonna have each individual property or
Yes,
whatever it is approve this?
right, so Mather is one of
To
them.
make sure that they want, yeah.
Right, so I was talking about, we would come up with a form letter asking the Congregational Church, Mather House, the Historical Society, all the different places, the Bates Cemetery, there's 3 cemeteries, for their approval. And we would give them a speech that, this is actually what it's gonna look like, and who's gonna fund it, or we're gonna fund it, who's gonna maintain it,
Right.
it's a big thing.
And these are more of the markers where you're walking, you get out to see a property,
Yes.
rather than the ones that are, brown
Right.
or green,
Drive
kind of
by.
blending in, standing
Right.
in, so you can see that this is a place of significance.
I'm not sure the brown and green ones, those are the ones standing upright, kind of like the national
Sign.
parks.
They're the big
Exactly,
grass
that- the
ones.
ones
Yeah, the
you
ones
see
in
in
the
the-
national parks, we're
One like
thinking,
Goodwise.
There's a lot in
it's just
Boston,
too,
there's a lot,
yeah, it's just too big and everything. I mean,
Yeah,
some of
yeah.
these are coming,
Yeah, who
Close
would
to people's
maintain these
houses.
though? That is a,
I think we'll have to talk to the town
okay.
Yeah.
about maintenance. I don't think it's gonna be a big thing to
It
maintain
doesn't look
it,
like
if
it's
somebody
heavy maintenance.
graffitis it, or, I don't know, can't be a big thing to maintain it.
P&Z has to approve.
Yeah, it has to be approved, so.
Could they be lit at
But-
night?
Oh, that would be
Solar
Yeah,
lit?
definitely.
With
We
a
could-
solar light or
Yeah,
something?
we could do that.
And then, so
depending
that
on
when you're
the
driving by, you
approval.
might like, oh, that's one of those special places, I'm gonna go back there another day.
I love that idea.
Yeah, that is a good idea.
Probably depends on where
I
it's
don't know.
located.
Might depend on the
You got the
neighborhood.
neighbors.
Yeah,
We have
yeah,
neighbors,
that's what I'm
yeah, the
thinking.
lights can be
So-
an issue with
Yeah.
like birds, nature, neighbors, people seem to freak out about that.
Like the unintended consequences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just to wrap up this, I'm going out for quotes on this. So we're
So
definitely.
more to come on pricing.
More to come on pricing, yeah.
What's the longevity of it though, the sign itself? Did they give you a sense of that? Because, you know,
I
being a
can ask what-
bicentennial event, you want something that's gonna last.
I can ask when Artworks put it up. I think it was years ago.
Because usually they give a rating,
They're
it's
pretty,
a
yeah.
30-year monument or a.
They're pretty sturdy.
Do you have to have a contingency fund if in case like somebody goes off the road and knocks it down?
I don't know. I mean, these are,
When you repair and replacement,
I don't think if it's on,
Hopefully
if
they have
it's,
insurance.
if there's a 5 foot, if there's a,
Right, they pay
Whoever
for
hits
it, they pay for it.
if there's a 5 foot setback, I don't
If they
think
admit it.
personal property, if you have a 5 foot setback, I think that's the rule.
No, is this, out of curiosity, the text, the image and the content that you're seeing here, that's something that's printed and once it's done, it's set in stone, right? The idea is that it's permanent, the content, it's not something that you can change out or swap out, it's not replaceable or anything of that sort, right? It's like, is it plexiglass?
I believe it's plexiglass. I don't know if you could change it or not.
Okay,
We'd have to, yeah.
just trying to think.
Or it might be enclosed in epoxy.
Right,
to protect it from weather.
Yeah.
Actually, I think
I'll
it's-
check that out.
I think
I'll
it's
check that out.
printed
Yeah,
right.
I'm just
Yeah.
obviously just talking out loud.
yeah, in
Is
theory, if it's
the-
just a placard underneath, you could always, if it doesn't need to change it.
No, I know it would look tasteful, and of course, I was thinking of other ideas that I've seen as well.
Yeah.
Are you going to put the logo for the company who's gonna pay for this on, visibly on the, information?
So we're not sure, we're exploring a couple of different options for pricing, they're not pricing this, for paying for this. So we'll address it when we kind of get that.
Get there,
all
okay.
wrapped up, yeah. But we will have the logo probably maybe at the Historical Society on there, but if the company pays for it, yeah, maybe the logo as well, but we're exploring some different options for pricing. But that's going along very well too. So then sponsorships, website and communications. We've got there's a case out here, an edition or whatever, I'm not sure what you call a display case that we're gonna have in March, which is when the opening ceremony and everything comes. So Kate and Lisa volunteered to head that up. They'll be showcasing different things about the town and everything. We have the actual proclamation from 1820 that was signed that incorporates the town of Darien here somewhere archived, so we'll bring that out. It'll be, yeah, the opening and closing ceremony, we'll probably have that too on view for people as they enter the auditorium or whatever to look at. It'll be cool. So sponsorship, ownership and everything, I think we're gonna meet. I'll be mailing people. We got a lot of volunteers on that. And I think that's about it. We're just about out of time. We have 3-4 more minutes. Anybody have any questions or?
I had a question.
Sure.
I missed, and this might have been covered in the last meeting, so if it's,
It's okay.
you know, bringing me up to speed. We have once, at one point, spoken about a communication inside of the Jamie's brochure. Yeah, are we still doing that?
Yeah,
Are we able to do
absolutely.
that?
Yeah, it'll be a flyer in the Parks and Rec,
Nice.
spring Parks and Rec. Right?
Yeah, so I gave kind of a tentative timeline last meeting and
Yeah, so
I
I
would
think
need,
they owe you information or content.
yeah, so as long as we could have something together by January, but that would be our goal for getting the trifold out anyway, so I would think we would have some sort of tentative schedule at that time.
But
It won't be in the September one?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And then-
Save
Yes.
the year.
Yes,
Save
the
the
save
year.
the save the year will be in the, sorry, I skipped the spring, I don't know
Okay,
why.
that's okay.
Yes,
Save the
so,
year in fall.
yes, and that one, the deadline, I believe, is July
Okay.
to get it into the fall and winter, and then January for the spring and summer.
That's what I was thinking by the time. I figured you would be re-emphasizing the save the date message and then any of the content for the trifold.
Yeah, so
into
hopefully at
yours.
that point, we could do some sort of save the year plug along with the date for the bash, and then probably not a ton at that time unless we have details, then great.
Right.
And then we could do a tentative truce schedule, and I would also put it on the front of the spring and summer brochure.
It'd be
So
great
they-
to have the creative of the Save the Years for the repetition.
Sure.
Yeah.
So if we could have the card reproduced like in your body, even if it's small, and then somebody sees it and then it comes in the mail,
Yep.
you know.
Makes that mental connection, sure.
So before we adjourn, I have some super fantastic news. Last meeting, I said the town gave us $5,000, which isn't very much. And our budget was cut, but we just recently got an anonymous donation of another $5,000. So I'm very, very happy about that.
That's
So
really
for
good.
right now, it's anonymous. That's super good
And
news.
I spoke to Linda O'Leary in the First Selectman's office, and I guess they're through the town, because if a town gets a donation, it has to be accepted in a certain way, and so that's going to be discussed by the selectmen at their next meeting, she said.
There's a little more details, but
Right.
yeah, so
Right. And the
that's
person,
such
actually,
great
just
news.
for, on the record, this generous donor was, realized that, that we're going to be needing funds to really put on a great, birthday celebration for the town, and, this person was hoping that could be like the first, it would encourage others to.
Plant the seed.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly, so,
Sounds like fodder for the press release.
exactly.
Nice plug.
Anyway, so any more comments or questions? Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make them.
Seconded? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion